Hi, I'm Don Dawson. In this program, we're going to look at how learning from the mistakes we make today can help us be safer tomorrow. Accidents happen. We all know that. And we know that accidents can happen to anybody, including ourselves. That can mean pain, injury, sometimes even death. So it's important to understand why these things happen. If we make each one a learning experience, we can prevent the same types of accidents from happening again. An accident can be caused by hazardous conditions or unsafe work practices. But even when the reason seems obvious, the real root cause can often be something else. That's where accident investigation comes in. It examines an incident systematically to determine its true causes. That information is then used to update policies, procedures, or equipment to reduce the risk of that type of accident from ever occurring again. The point of an accident investigation is not to assign blame or to get anyone in trouble. It's to prevent people from being injured in the same way in the future. But before we discuss the investigation, let's talk for a minute about how we should deal with the incidents themselves. There are two types of workplace incidents: accidents and near misses. A near miss is an incident which, under slightly different circumstances, could have resulted in an injury or damage to equipment or materials. In other words, an accident waiting to happen. Near misses can warn us about a problem before something more serious happens, and it's much better to learn from near misses than from accidents. Unfortunately, we won't always have a near miss to warn us about a potential problem. If an accident does occur, our first concern should be that the people who are injured are being cared for. If someone needs first aid and you're qualified to give it, that should come first. Then medical personnel should be called immediately. Once any victims are taken care of, the appropriate supervisors and managers should be notified if they aren't already at the scene. After these things are dealt with, the area should be secured so that no one else can get hurt. Safety tape is often used for this. This will also help to prevent people from tampering with evidence that the investigators will need to look at. An accident investigation will usually begin immediately after an incident. Interviews may take place as soon as the area is secured. It's important to remember that the investigators need your help. Be honest and provide as much information as you can. Even if you do not witness the accident, investigators may want to talk to you, especially if you are familiar with the site or the task being performed at the time of the accident. Remember, the information is being gathered to help determine the exact cause of the accident, not to place blame on anyone. Determining the cause of an accident is not always easy. After all, most accidents have several contributing factors. This is why a root cause analysis can often help the situation. A root cause analysis is an examination of the chain of events that led to an accident. These events may have taken place days, weeks, even months before the accident actually occurred. So it's important that the analysis be thorough. Potential factors that investigators will look for include faulty or poorly maintained equipment, lack of training, or the absence of appropriate policies and procedures. Remember, root cause analysis looks for all of the factors that could have contributed to an accident, which is why it is a vital part of any accident investigation. During an investigation, you should offer as much information as you can regarding the accident. This includes any relevant facts about the workers who were involved, the site where the accident occurred, and the working conditions at the site. A successful root cause analysis relies on detail. It will help if you are familiar with the safety practices that are used in the work area where the accident occurred. And don't worry about giving investigators too much information. They will sort it all out. You never know when some small fact will be the key to determining what really happened and why. Let's look at some examples. A warehouse worker is standing on the top step of a ladder and falls off. It may appear to be an easy investigation. It seems obvious that the worker ignored the rule about not standing on the top step of a ladder, lost his balance, and that's why he fell. The worker's actions are certainly a factor, but there can be other reasons this accident occurred as well. In order to help prevent the same type of accident from happening again, we need to look deeper. What if the ladder he was on was the tallest one in the warehouse? We know a person fell off a ladder. We also know that he was standing on the top step. By continuing the investigation, we eventually discover that he was using the tallest ladder in the warehouse. The worker's carelessness is a factor, but the lack of proper equipment is the root cause of this accident. The warehouse needs a taller ladder so that workers can reach the highest materials without standing on the top step. Remember, the ultimate goal of an accident investigation is to prevent this incident from happening again. Let's look at another example of root cause analysis. A worker fixing a machine is suddenly shocked. We might conclude that since there was electricity involved, the situation was inherently hazardous, that there wasn't much that could be done to make this situation safer. But it takes electricity to run the machine, and there are procedures that allow electrically powered equipment to be worked on safely. So there are probably other factors to consider. For instance, should the system have been locked out? If so, why wasn't it? We need to look at whether the worker who was repairing the machine had been given training on lockout-tagout procedures. If he had received lockout-tagout training, we would also need to determine if the worker was following the procedures that he was taught. In this instance, the investigator determined that the root cause of the accident was a lack of training. The worker never attended the lockout-tagout class he was scheduled for, and therefore never knew the danger he was putting himself into. Now let's apply root cause analysis to a third situation, one that involves personal protective equipment. Falls are accidents that people don't always investigate fully. If a person falls, we usually figure they lost their grip or their footing. But when we take a closer look, in this case, we discover that the worker did not follow procedure by wearing his fall protection gear. We would then need to find out why. There are a number of reasons why an employee might skip proper safety procedures, all of them bad. In an attempt to increase their output, a worker in a hurry can sometimes forget about safety. Ironically, if an accident occurs as a result, production will often slow down or even stop altogether. There are times when an accident has nothing to do with equipment, training, or procedures. Often investigators find that miscommunication is the root cause of an accident. Workers need to clearly hear and understand any instructions they receive about the job they're doing.
I can't understand you.
If communications aren't clear, or there is a question about what should really be done, instructions should be repeated so that everyone understands the proper procedure.
Is it 5? Did you say 5?
So far, we've only looked at the first goal of an accident investigation, determining the cause. Now let's look at the other goal, making sure that the same type of accident doesn't happen again. Remember, when it comes to learning from accidents, there are 4 basic areas to look at: policies, training, equipment, and communication. Proper training is always a key element in preventing accidents. If problems have existed with certain types of activities or situations in the past, everyone should be made aware of the potential hazards that are associated with those situations and be trained to handle them. If a situation is hazardous enough, your facility may have to put new policies into place, or existing policies may have to be updated. This can often take the form of workplace rules or standard operating procedures that everyone must follow. Many accidents are caused by faulty or misused equipment. In these cases, the equipment may need to be repaired. If repairs are not possible, or if the correct equipment isn't being used, new equipment may have to be purchased, which may also require additional training. If an accident was the result of faulty communication, people may need to be made aware of the factors that can make hearing what a coworker is saying difficult and how to overcome this. In many cases, the solution to the problem can involve more than one of these 4 factors. As you can see, investigating accidents can be an involved process, but the goal of an accident investigation, to determine the cause of an accident and prevent similar accidents from happening again, is worth the effort. Let's review what you can do to help. Report near misses. They can teach us a lot about preventing accidents in the future. In the event of an accident, remember, people's safety is the top priority. Cooperate with investigators. Their goal is to prevent more accidents from occurring. Provide investigators with as much information about an accident as you can. Remember that a root cause analysis is an examination of the entire chain of events that led to an accident, so no detail is unimportant. If you're helping to investigate an accident, look at all 4 major factors: policies, training, equipment, and communication. A good accident investigation can solve the mystery behind any safety problem and give you a chance to help you and your coworkers stay safe on the job.